I was the bodyguard for some presidents and for Clinton and Bush and did bodyguard for some congressmen. All those things God blessed me to do. But also He gave it to me, and it was a preparation.
Amen.
It was a preparation for the other things that were to precede me, and were the things that I thought that was I was on High Street. I thought everything was just going on fine, and it was.
Mm-hmm.
But God had a plan for it, not only for my life, just for each and everybody else's life.
Hallelujah.
And just because something and everything is good to you, it don't mean that there's going to be always going to be some way through your life. There's going to be some things in the pits and falls that you have to go through.
Yes.
So, given the fact that I was in law enforcement, I said that the soul of law enforcement is basically influenced by the so-called blue code.
Mm-hmm.
The blue code is a prosperity for law enforcement.
Uh-huh.
It's a code where they protect each other.
Mm-hmm. That's the silence too, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the code. Whether for good or bad, wrong or right, you're supposed to stand in line for each other.
Or not at all.
Or not at all. You're supposed to stand in line. You're supposed to go along with the go along. So as I went through, to go back in a little time as I come through in law enforcement, how I got into this. I played ball and tomball, and of course I was all state, all that, and I was everything going on. Of course I went to school at Texas Lutheran and football scholarships, and so as I got out of college, I had a good friend that was one of the lieutenant at the sheriff department. He said, "Man, why don't you come down and work the sheriff department? You can be a credit for us. You can make some changes." So I go down, and when I get there, they automatically put me on the fast track. I become the first a bureau major, assistant to the bureau majors. I was doing PR in the community. I was doing all these kinds of different things, but I had to go in. It was at 1301 Franklin, but I decided to go up on the floors where all the inmates was when the deputies was working. So as I got up on the floors, it was a total different ball game from down on the first floor.
You were able to see some of the things that were going on under the table, so to speak.
So
I can relate to what you're
it was a different ball game down there on the bureau major. That wasn't the real world. But up on the floors where the inmates, where the brothers were, that was the real world.
Right.
That's where all I was going in, and when I was hearing course, at that time I came in, it was about 100 blacks was there, out of almost 2,500 deputies, and about 75 Hispanics. By that time, I was going up on the floors, and we were starting hearing about KKK music. And
he didn't mean the station.
And the Klansmen talking music.
Right.
They were talking on loudspeaker, and there at the time, that tells me that some of the white boys were wearing those stripes. They was Klansmen.
Right.
And so I was going up, as I go up on the floors, I go to roll call. The first time I got there, they was told, "Well, you go clean up those niggers off of Homestead." So that didn't strike me well. So I jumped up. I said, "What did you say?" I said, they started studying. I said, "That's inappropriate for I'm concerned." I said, "Now that's offend me. I don't know if I offend anybody else in this room, but it offend me." And so, that pretty much took me off.
To say that.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they had been saying it all along.
Yes.
Right.
But I had a problem with it, so I called them out on it. So from that point on the other side, the brothers came and they said, "Look, why don't you become the president of the Afro League, the police union?" I didn't want to be that. I was still having the cars and riding around and picking it up and going to lunch. I didn't want to do that. I was going to get off into this thing with the problems. I didn't want to do that. But God has sent me there to do that. That was my purpose. And so I rebelled against it. I kept going on to I started coming in and on the first floor where all the people come in to visit the inmates, but they had to go through the first floor in order to go down. But I stood out one day and I started seeing all the black people and people come in. Well, they were letting white folks come in. They was hustling them up to the floor. But then they were taking black folks, making them get the IDs. And then they didn't ID. They were arresting them, putting them in jail.
Oh, my God.
So I said, well, hold up. So I went to the floor. I went to the deal and I said, wait a minute. Why are you arresting these people? If they don't have the driver's license, send them back home. Tell them what they need to do to come see their people and go back and see them. I said, therefore, you're strip searching and you're searching them there. You're patting them down. They don't have any weapons. They're coming to see the kids. Let them go see the children.
Voice of humanity.
Yeah, let them go see them. And so I saw it. So I've changed the policy. I made them stop.
Yeah.
Busting them, not arresting them.
And you had to stand up.
Yeah. To stand up and
To
stop.
get that
Yes,
done.
to get that done.
And he was the one God chose
Right.
to get that done. I
Exactly.
remember when it came through.
Oh, yeah.
See, I was there.
Yeah.
And wrote the stories to support the brother like that because
Right.
he had it going on.
Yeah, there are times in a person's life when you've been called. The word says many are called, few are chose. But when God has not only a calling, but he's chosen you to do something, you just can't sit back and be quiet.
Can't sit back and be quiet. And so by that time they said, well, why don't you come on and be president? I didn't want to be president. I had just got married. I had my twins. And I didn't want to be president. I was going home.
Well,
I was living good.
Exactly.
Because I knew what this was going to be about. So, but anyway, again, I listened to the voice of the Lord.
Amen.
And the Lord had preordained what I did. So I was being obedient. I went on.
To your calling.
Went on. From that point on, in that time, I got sideways with the sheriffs and all that. They thought that it was going to be an easy road. But that time, I started calling them out about this Klan music. How are you talking about playing Klan music? You're walking around here and in the deal with blacks, all these blacks, and you got Klan medallions on. You sergeant, supervisor, wearing around Klan medallions. That dog ain't going to hunt. And I went down and talked to the sergeant and majors, and I said, man, these guys can't wear no supervisor. I said, this is an embarrassment. And I said, therefore, it tells me what you're doing to the black people up in this deal. If you walking around with Klan medallions in here, what are you doing to these black inmates up here?
Yeah.
So what they was really doing was, at night I found out, late on that night, at 2 o'clock in the mornings, when everybody on the 11 to 2 shift, 6 shift, 7 shift, they was putting out black inmates at night having nigger beat down nights.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, true.
Pulling them out,
I heard about it.
stomping them down, beat them down. We're not talking about 50s. We're not talking about 70s. We're talking about in the 90s.
That's real.
And they still doing. They still beat. So they talking about what they doing now. You still hear little things that's going on now. It's because they've been corralled some. They can't do it what they want to do. And I'll get to the point how it's down. So I came in one morning, and they had black inmates out. He was hanging out to see young guys on the 10th floor. We call it the Galleria floor. They said, boss, I'm so glad it's daylight. He was crying and he was bleeding. I said, what's going on? He said, boss, they pulled us out at night. When none of y'all ain't around, they just beat us. They beat us. So I went down there at the roll call and I told them, I said, hey guys, let me tell y'all something. Let me give y'all a bulletin. Until we have a honky beat down night, you better not never have another big nigga beat down night in the county jail. Because if you do, I'm going to have you all indicted. So I'm telling you now, it ain't no more free ride. It ain't going to happen anymore. So from that point on, they knew where we stood, where I stood. And if it came, they understood. And one did, I wrote him up. And I took him down. It was a supervisor. So they finally had to move it. But I couldn't take that. I took that personal. I took it really personal because these white boys in there, and they weren't doing white kids like that. And so pretty soon, step on forward a little further down is that. Pretty soon we filed a lawsuit on behalf of Afro-Americans. Filed a lawsuit against the sheriff based on discrimination, on hiring, firing, promotion, and all that deal. So by that time it went on, they had pinpointed me. They had, and law enforcement, the tough people you had to be on the opposite side of. They was telling me, tapping my phone, They was making sure that at that time I wasn't drinking. I didn't do clubs. So everything you look around, they was following me everywhere I go with my phones, and they was trying to set me up. And I would go into the third ward. I would go in off of blocks, and I would go back in the bottom. I could see them following me. I would go all the way back in the deep part of the bottom because I knew there were no white folks out there. So as I got in the bottom, they stopped because they wouldn't go back there because it was one way in, one way out. So I started playing games with them. And so pretty room, we kept on. Then we filed a lawsuit. Lawsuit went on. And after a while, around 98, I went to the DA's, to the county attorney's office, where I became the first black investigator. Mm-hmm. By that time, I decided I want to run for, that time I ran the breast. By 98, the lawsuit came through. We won the lawsuit. Mm-hmm.
Yes, I remember that.
It was the first commissioner's charge, the first one of its kind in the history of Harris County. And we won that lawsuit where they had to go back and hire and pay all the blacks that they and the Hispanics that they had refused to hire. They had to go back all the way back to 70s and pay them back. And pay them. Then they had to promote African Americans and Hispanic. Because we didn't have African Americans in patrols and wars and vices,
back then.
Homicides and all that. See, we didn't, and we weren't allowed to patrol the white communities and all that kind of stuff. But they were allowed to come into the black communities and throw down dope. Because you have to understand that the only reason why drugs are allowed to flourish in our communities is because of police corruption. Mm-hmm. It's the police allowing the dope to come in. In other words, because the reason why I can say that is because you don't see it in Memorial.
Right.
You don't see it on River Oaks. Yep. You don't see them on the corner selling dope over there. You sit over there on 1 minute. If you walk on that corner and stand there, they're going to arrest you.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm going to tell y'all something. You see what this man's telling y'all right here?
Oh, yeah.
I was a reporter with the 4 Times during that time. And as a second voice in this conversation going around right now, this man is telling y'all he's not making none of this stuff. I'm not saying this just because I can. I can say this because I reported and saw what this man did, followed him along with it, and wrote him up a lot of times about that. And the thing like he's sharing with y'all right now, y'all, he's not making none of this up. This is not sour grapes. This is a reality. I was told by those same other officers, the reason why the dope ran flapping in our community was because they call it containment.
That's right.
Exactly.
It wasn't like nobody didn't know it.
That's right.
It was all perpetrated upon our people.
Right.
And and matter of fact, a lot of the police are the mules. They bring it in their cars and their trucks and bring it in, drop it off, and pick up their money.
And
so
that's reality.
That's the reality. That's what's going on.
I know you're telling the truth.
And that's
because
what's going on.
of the things that are going on today. I mean, it's always going on. But individuals that send me the videos, when you see 3 police officers beat a black man down and shoot him twice, he's already down, he's no threat to them, and then put handcuffs on him while they're being videotaped, you know, it's still going on.
How arrogant can you be?
Yeah.
But did they have, my question was like, when you was talking about the blue coat, excuse me, whether or not there was this some kind of a preferential treatment that was for like minorities only. Well, because of the percentages is so high, you know, in the prisons as far as the number of blacks that's incarcerated. Why would, I mean, even after they won the lawsuit, was there no restriction or limitation or some way to focus on minimizing incarcerating black men for the same crime that white men would do, but they would get lesser
Sentences.
Of time than the black man would do.
A white could be arrested with a pound of cocaine, get a year. A black could be arrested with grams or fragments in a test tube and get 25 years.
Right.
Come on now.
Well, it's the citizens guideline. If you remember back, and they talk about it now, back in the early 70s, 80s, they had this hard thing where they came down, this citizens guideline. Where they came down hard on blacks. It was talking about how blacks was going all this crime, and they put it on the black of African Americans. But black folk weren't bringing in the dope, and white folks were bringing in the dope. The white people had the dope. White
We didn't
folks
have a
always
train
stopped.
or
We never
plane.
brought in that
Right.
stuff. We didn't have the money to buy it.
At all.
The white folk were the mules, and they brought us and brought it into our communities, and it made the money. So the fact is, so they started talking when they started talking about the punishment, but they wanted to punish the people that's down on the low level, but they wouldn't punish the one who were bringing the stuff in.
Right.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
The politics of drugs in this country.
And that's who bringing the dope in. And
Yeah.
so if you wanted to stop the dope coming in, stop the
Stop it
mules
at
who
the
bring it
border.
in. Bring
Stop
the
it at the
mules
border.
and bring it in. Stop
the
at the
thing.
airports and stop all these boys and over there and River Oaks and bringing all this powder stuff in. But see, all that stuff was going on, but they want to put it down. It was only a black thing.
Right.
Right.
It wasn't a black thing. It was a thing, but they want. But that was all. It was also as a form of how they could try to neutralize
Yeah.
us,
Yeah.
our community.
Yes.
They didn't care about our community.
No.
It was. It's like it was a point of that they desensitized us.
Exactly.
And so what I'm saying about the bottom line is that the blacks in law enforcement, they have to stand up and speak out on it. But the fact is that a lot of them are paranoid.
And they're
about stepping
compromising.
out. They're compromising.
They're compromising.
They're
A
compromising.
lot
They're
of them are.
paranoid about it. But you have to be able to put it on the line. I cannot go out here and catch you beating up on black folks and say, "No, I'm not calling him a nigger. I'm not talking about you. You talking about me because I'm black too. Because you call him a nigger when you ain't around me, you calling me a nigger."
Right. Right.
So if you talking about me, and I'm not gonna allow you to sit down and call. Don't do that in front of me. It's not gonna happen. So I will always check them out on that kind of thing.
But you said something earlier just now. You said something about desensitizing.
Yeah.
And it seems as if this approach is working. Because we don't have a lot of black leaders within the community that are standing up trying
Right.
to represent those who are more positive minded, saying, okay, let's do whatever we got to do to eradicate this. You know, and like you said, some people, they're afraid at this point, because if you say too much, then you get the phone calls.
And there's a tremendous
Right.
amount of money involved.
Exactly.
Right,
So a
right.
lot of money involved. And I'm gonna tell you,
Yes.
that was the easy
Yes.
part of it. So by the time I got through it all, Martin Luther King said, when you're a black man in America, and you stand up and you fight, you stand up against oppression, three things are going to happen to you. Either they're going to kill you in prison or they're going to send you in exile. So they didn't kill me. They didn't send me in exile, but they imprisoned me. They also, they got to a point where they came back and set it up where and when I was a constable, I said I took money and all this other kind of stuff, and they set it up and they knew. And see, the fact when I got there, they got upset because when I became constables, all the emblems on their cars, I put Buffalo Soldier pats on my cars. So I had Buffalo Soldiers emblems on my car. So they didn't like
So
that.
sweet.
So that really
That is so
upset them. They
sweet.
want to know, what are you doing? What are you doing? So I had the emblems all on my car. So and the black man on the car. They, I mean, what are you doing? What are you put? I said, you know, this is I'm the constable. I could put whatever emblem on my car. And so this I'm in a black
Just
precinct.
like they did.
I'm in a black precinct. And so our band, they was mad about that. They was angry, upset. Then I
'Cause you
opened up a
outsmarted
barrel of
them.
worms, and I'm telling you what, we had the smoky hats on, the cowboy hats on, had them going out.
You know, my thing is, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
And so pretty well, then they wind up to get me to the courtroom. And so I called for order at my office because I saw something going on in my office. So I called the auditors to come in my office. I said, they said, well, Constable, what do you want done? I said, I want to find out exactly what's going on in my office. I want to know exactly what's happening. So they did a full audit. They said, Constable, you got some problems in here. We got some this. What do you want to do? I said, I want to find out, and whoever's doing it, we're gonna get rid of them. I'm gonna arrest them. Because this is a black precinct, and we're going to make sure things done right. So by all the time we do that, all of a sudden, all that got turned around. And I fired by 7 people. Filed charges on by 4 or 5 people. Before it's all over with, They turned it around, let all them go, and then they put the charges on me. I say, Lord have mercy. You remember, you and Ed and them wrote about this.
You know.
And so I was set up in the court. I was in the courtroom, and while I was sitting there, we picked the jury, and I was sitting in the jury. Then one of the white girls in the jury, she looked over and called me MF out of the jury box.
Oh, wow.
I said, "Wait, Judge." I told my lawyer, I said,
Miss
"This woman called me MF in the jury box." So he said, "Judge," I said, "Hold up, Judge. One of these juries are inappropriate calling me." He said, he said, "Okay, I'll talk to her." Let it go on. I said, "Well, this train is on the track."
That's right.
This train is on the track. And I knew what was going on from that point on. I knew what was going to happen. And then we had a jury. I had 4 blacks on my jury. That was on a Friday. We picked the jury. And then the judge didn't swear in the jury. That's all. Something going on here. So by the time we get back Monday morning, the DA, he come back and said, "Well, the DA, his mother is sick. She's in the hospital."
Whoa.
Well, we had two assistant DAs, and the other DA said, "I'm ready to go, Judge." "Oh, no, we're gonna wait till she come back." And you move and set the deal by. Reset it back, come back, kicked off that jury, came back, gave another jury, all white jury.
Oh, wow.
Hello, the fix is there.
All white jury. I said, "Lord, this train is on the track." I already knew it.
Yeah.
Then by that time, I come back, sit there. The next time I come in there, my attorney didn't show up. I'm sitting in the
It's not funny, y'all.
Well, you know what? We
tragic.
thank God that you continue to
Yeah.
stand.
Yeah.
That's the main objective.
I couldn't.
Did you have anybody that was supporting you, like the NAACP or anyone that was
They
behind to instigate a movement?
Yes, they didn't. At that time, Robert Muhammad came down.
Yeah.
Robert came down.
Yes, he did.
Ed and them came down.
Yes, we did.
Ben, they all came down.
Yes, we did.
But the Baptist ministers and them was there, and they came through them the deal. But in in that courtroom, in that judge, I knew it was going to happen. I said, "Lord, it's in your hands." And so by that time it came through, and they said, "Well," he got the auditors on the deal, and he said, the auditor took the stand. He said, "Tell me who stole the money." He went down, he said, "This is who I found through your investigation." He named all the names of the people I fired. And he said, "What about Constable Wooten?" He said, "Well, I found no evidence Constable Wooten did anything wrong."
Right.
Nothing. So my lawyer, he said, "Well, Judge," he said, "he did nothing wrong. He was innocent. I moved to dismiss." Overruled. I said back then, I said, "Hey, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over."
Right.
They were going to roll me.
Right.
And I knew they were
That's
going to
right.
roll me.
That's right.
So by that time it went on.
Handwriting on the wall.
But I said on, but they didn't know. But God was on my side.
Yes.
No, they didn't.
This was bigger than me, bigger than them.
Yeah.
I went home all this time, but this time I was steady standing. I went home, as I told at night before, I sat back, and before they gonna sentence me, that night I was on my couch, and when I was sitting on my couch, that night at 3 o'clock in the morning, I woke up. It was white bird feathers all over me. All over me, all on the side of me. I woke up and I picked up the white bird feathers. And I said, "Man, what?" At first I thought I left the windows open. And the next thing I said, "Man, how did birds get in the house?"
That was God allowing you to know
Yeah, that was a covering. That was God's covering.
God's covering. That's
So,
what that
and
was.
that went. So I got on the phone and I called my sister, my older sister. She said, "Baby, all it was the angels just came and visited you."
Yeah.
So I picked them up and put them in a bag. And I put them in a bag and I put them up. But when I went to go back and get them, I was going to show them, they were gone. And she said, "That was just for you and
That's
God.
right. That's
It
correct.
wasn't for you to show.
No.
God was showing you
That's
that He
it.
was with you."
Right.
Hallelujah. That's
And
what it
so,
was.
and so as I went through all this, so I went on through and I prayed and I kept praying. And then by that time, I finally got to, they sent me up to Lubbock, Texas. And I mean, it was cold. You get out. I was sitting outside with like sandstorm. I thought it was a hurricane coming, but it was sandstorms. And man, by that time my knees had went out, and so as I was going through all that, I was set up at bed at night, and God was this book. 3 o'clock in the morning. It was like I was just writing it, and I was writing this book, and I writing down this stuff in this book.
Is this the book you're speaking of?
Yeah. And I was writing it down in the book.
From hell to glory.
From what?
From hell to glory.
From what?
From hell to glory.
And I was writing it down at night, and I didn't even know I was writing it. He was just giving me.
That's the way it goes.
He was giving. It's just writing. I was just writing that thing.
I know the
So
process.
one morning I woke up about 4 o'clock in the morning, and all of a sudden I saw something just turn out my bed, out my butt. I saw it like just left way. Scared me. I got up. And through this time I was in jail. One night I woke up about 3 o'clock in the morning, and in the cell block, the whole roof of the cell opened up like I was in a movie picture show.
Mm-hmm.
It would open up wide, and when it opened up and wide, it was in my sister's living room. As I said, it was in my sister's living room, and I knew that because I knew how her room was fit. And she was sitting at the table, and I saw her, all our pictures on that little dinette set, and a man was sitting in front of her, tall, had a white robe on like he used to wear.
Mm-hmm.
He had a brown stack in his hand, facing her. And he said, "What are you worried about? You see him, he'll be home soon." 2 weeks later, came back, your case was overturned.
Mm.
Can we pick that up a little bit? Because he gave us a lot there, y'all.
Your case
We'll
was
be
overturned.
right back with you. 90.1 on your FM radio dial. You're listening to KPFT. Great guests, great conversation, great motivation and inspiration. Right here with Tanya, Miss Golly, y'all. Come on now, Evangelist Tanya Dean and her guest this evening. God bless us all.
That's me.
Amen. Amen.
But Mr. Wooten, I have a question, sir. We're hearing about all that you've gone through, and we're still going through as a people. We've gone through from the beginning of time, and you know it's no accident. Here recently, me myself, I'm not gonna tell my age, but over the last 3 or 4 years, from what I perceive, and I've been taught that we're in the Bible. You know, all of this it's predestined.
Yeah,
It's already written.
it's already written.
You know, God's word will not return void. That's one thing that I found.
That's right.
And to read the Bible and see what the Bible says, and see, you know, learning about the curse, learning about the enslavery, you know, learning about the manipulation, you know, learning about all that we've been through as a people. You know, Deuteronomy 28:13 says the top will become the bottom and the bottom the top.
That's right.
So what I see in reference to the 400 years from 1619 to 2019. Now this year is 2019. There's a transference that's about to take place. This is what I perceive. And what I see is that there are individuals that are trying to stop it, but you can't stop God.
No, you can't stop God.
What He's already said that's going to happen is going to happen.
It's already preordained.
It's already preordained.
And you're absolutely right. And we are in those days.
Yes, we are.
We're in those last days.
We're in those days.
We're in those days, and if people don't understand that, therefore we would away the heat. It's gonna get hotter.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's gonna get much hotter.
I have a question for Mr. Thibodeau. When you was working for the Forward Times and you said y'all was writing on the events and the circumstances, what impact did that have on the community? I mean, what was the community response?
Well, that's why the community response was they knew they could depend on the Forward Times for the information because between our arms, Lenora Carter, Bud Johnson and myself got on the streets and on the wheels on the land with my brother like this, they knew we didn't lie to them. We had credibility within our community. Thibodeau don't lie to you. Thibodeau don't make up stories to you. Thibodeau is a man of God. And if Thibodeau writes something about Perry Wooten, then you know it must be some validity to that. I don't write stories. He can't pay me to write about him or write against it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So if I'm going to do something about him, it's going to be credible. And what he was doing was very powerful. He had the courage to do it, and I had the grace of God to back him up. We had the grace of God to back this man up,
And
that's what it's about.
Forward Times is the only one is, and I still got many of the deals, the papers, the articles
That's
right
right.
now, and the book right now that I have at home. But I took the articles out with you guys, but you all played an instrumental role because the white people wouldn't play the role.
At all.
They wouldn't do it at all. And without that, and the Forward Times and maybe the other little newspaper did, but the Forward Times was on the forefront.
We took the forefront.
On this and what was going on in the community. And I just tell you guys, it's this is baffling to me today that we haven't came that far.
Exactly.
We haven't came that far. We're talking about the same thing happened today.
Yeah.
I'm talking about you can take back, open your eyes. We back in the name.
Right.
But we don't have the same soldiers no more though.
Exactly.
We don't have the same soldiers.
That's
Right.
But you don't have the people that's going to stand up and fight. But you got to be willing to put it on the line. But people say, man, I don't know why you did it, but I don't know how I did that. But it was God that pushed me.
Right.
I didn't know.
We knew.
It was my purpose. It was my purpose. And one thing, I've been obedient, and I like God to use me because that was my purpose.
Amen.
Right.
And a lot of times God put us here to do some things.
Yes, He does.
And we don't do
Yes,
it. We
He does.
rebel. We don't allow ourselves God to use us.
That's right. That's right.
But I have ministers. I come from a religious family. When I was 4 and 5 years old, my grandmothers were missionaries. My grandfather was pastors, and I was up in prayer and prayer.
The
And I
fruit
know
don't
about prayer.
fall from the
From the
tree.
tree.
Prayer
Right.
and prayer. Know about prayers and so when I got up, when I came, let me tell you, before I came through. And see, my life has been, God has showed me throughout my life that a role He had in my life. When I left out of school, when I came out of college, I came back home, and I went to my mother told me one day on the visit, son, don't go out on Christmas Eve on the holiday. I said, Mom, I'm going to hang out with my partners. So I go out and I looked at her. So when I go out, not doing what she asked me to do, I go out to the club. I didn't do it. I didn't drink, didn't do nothing. But I started coming home about 11:30. As I walked through the door, a gun went off, hit me in the side, you could say, turned me a flip, 357 Magnum.
Oh my God.
Hit me in the side, laid on the ground. And God told me, said, if you pray, you
Jesus.
won't die.
Right.
If you pray
Jesus.
in my ear, if you pray, you won't die.
Yeah.
So I prayed. And when I prayed, the calmness came all over me. They took me to one hospital and said, we can't do nothing for him. So I sat back, and I was in the ambulance. I was sitting back there looking at all of it. They were doing the machine. God had gave me the peace. I wasn't afraid.
Right.
So it took me to Ben Taub, and my mom and dad was sat there. I was looking at the deal. They had forks and knives on the side. I know all these forks and the knives on the side. What they gonna do with these forks and knives? My dad, I saw him looking sad, but I knew everything was okay because God had told me I was gonna be all right. All I just need to be is pray, and I did that. And so that was the beginning of the stage. God was already preparing me.
Yeah.
Showing me that if I be obedient and listen to it,
And obedience is the
Right.
key word.
if I
It's better than
was obedient and
sacrifice.
listen,
Yes.
He had me.
Yeah.
He had me. It wasn't about me.
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
That's right.
It's about the will of God.
Yes,
Amen.
it is.
It was about God says, this is what you was put here to do.
And let His
Yeah.
will be done.
And His will be done. All you have to be is be obedient.
Be obedient.
Simple,
And
y'all.
allow God to do and have faith and believe.
Yes.
Yeah. Because
And
the
that's all you got to
357,
do.
will take you out.
Oh, yeah.
It goes in like this, but it comes out like this.
That's right. And back in. So I'm 2 months later. I was back on the football field.
Ooh!
Telling you.
That's just the grace of God.
That's a miracle.
I'm saying that's what. And so all these things were going on around me, and these things were happening. And so I just sat back and I said, by the grace of God, and I knew it wasn't about me then.
No.
It was never all this about me, even by the fact that I come back. Sometimes I don't even push this book. And God said that you need to get out and talk about it.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, you need to get out and talk about this book. I gave you this book. I put it in the bill. I got box of cards. I don't push it. I don't talk about it.
We don't talk about it. We ain't gonna know.
Yeah, I don't talk about it. I don't push it. I don't get out and push it. I get out and get it done. And so I sat back and I talk about it. So I want to share it with them. God said you have to share it.
Right.
You have to tell people that God is real.
Amen.
God is for you. Who could be against you?
Amen.
He's more than the world against you.
That's right.
And so all this stuff, but after, like I said, and all that went done, I finally got it overturned, came back home, and started in my ministry and doing what I'm doing now, and sat back.
And what are you doing now?
Preaching.
What are you doing now?
Preaching.
What are you doing now?
Preaching. Preaching the word of God.
Can you tell us more about your book?
And the book is basically, it's all talks about, it talks about.
I hear the pages. Tell
everything
me
I talk about in this book is in the book. It talks about the political power, politics of power. It talks about God's second major miracle in my life. And everything I talk to you about now is in this book.
Okay.
It's in this book. Everything I've talked about is in this book. And it talks about how God did it. God ordaining me, and God came to coming back, put me under J.J. Robinson, and someone who knows
Man of history too.
the man, the most.
Yes.
I love the man.
Everybody know
I love the J.J.
in the house. Hey.
I love him. He put me out there and brought me and put him under his tutelage.
Right.
And he brought me through and helped me there, helped me set up and put all these pieces in front of me to help me do what he wanted me to do.
That's what he did.
It helped me do it. It helped me come through. And so the thing is that people say, look at me, I don't know how you go through it. I know how I went through it.
Right.
Because God brought me through it.
Amen.
Right.
God brought me through all this. God knew what he's doing. God don't make mistakes.
No, he does.
All we got to do is allow God to do his will. Let God do his will. And I tell young kids all the time, you just got to learn. You got to pray. You got to pray and you got to believe in God.
The power of prayer.
The power of prayer. And I'm going to tell you right now, because I don't care. You hear, they talk about the doctors. Well, doctors are practitioners.
Oh, call the word. It is. That's true, though.
Doctors are practitioners.
Practitioners, yeah.
But God is a doctor, a healer.
Amen.
Doctors are practitioners. They don't heal nobody. They're practitioners. They go to school to learn things. But God is a healer.
And I've had 2 strokes, and tell you what the man is saying is real.
He heals you. Because all that time, here it is, because here you see me said, now, I wasn't supposed to be here because of the 357 man, but that's not what I am. If it's not your time, I don't care what nobody says, you're gonna be here.
Amen. And we talked about that earlier.
Yes, so we do talk about.
No matter if like you said, we got 2 like you said, you got 2 strokes. It ain't your time. God have work for you to do.
That's correct.
It's a purpose.
Yeah.
That's correct.
It's a purpose.
And that's what we're here to do is a great program like this.
That's why I thrive according to Romans 8:28. It says, and we know that all things work together for the good to those who love
That's
God
right.
and to those who walk.
And this is an example of
according
that.
to his purpose.
That is
It's
right.
not about us, it's all about God's purpose.
Yes.
And also, right now, what I'm doing is I'm challenging the churches because the church is supposed to be the pillar of the community. But what I'm seeing now is everybody wants to stay on the inside of the walls. Nobody wants to come on the outside. And the thing is, the people on the outside, the church is actually on the outside, down there on that corner, the street corner, where those people are doing drugs. They're doing alcohol. The prostitute is out there. That's what a church is. But nobody wants to come outside the walls of the church and go out into the street.
And do the real missionary work.
Yes.
Actually, the church is wherever God's word is.
Amen.
Man.
Wherever God's word is. The church is wherever God's word is.
Yes.
And when God sent Peter and Paul and the 12 disciples out, He sent them to go out abroad. He sent them to go out now in the church. He told them to go all over the land.
Yes.
And spread the gospel and preach and spread the word. That's for everywhere He sent them out. And everything He sent out, God sent them out to do His word, to go out and do the word and bless people. Tell them about God.
Amen.
Tell them about the word of God. And so the thing is about now is that I tell people all the time, they say, man, you don't do. I get out. I talk to people all the time on the streets. I talk to all of my ministries inside the church. God told me that my ministry was going to be inside the church and outside the church.
Amen.
Right.
And God told me that I was going to be a bridge between the people. He was going to be a voice that the people would listen. God told me that. And that people said, why don't you do it in the church? Well, that's not what God does. And see, you can't anchor me. I do what God tells me.
Amen.
I go out and I'm on the street corners. I go out and I might feed the people who don't have money on the street corner.
Yeah.
And God said, give to the people. If you don't lie. If you got it in your pocket, you got it. Say, don't lie and say you don't have it, because I gave it to you.
Amen.
Ooh. You're going to be blessed, because whatever you get, if you give it to them, I'm continue to give it to you, so I give it out to them.
Right.
And I've heard a lot of people say, well, they're not going to do what they say. It doesn't matter, because as long as you do what God say do, which is give it over to them, that's on
between them and God.
That's between them and God, whatever they do with it.
Between them and God. So I just think right now the people, I see the people, our community is suffering. Because there's not enough people standing up for our community.
Right.
Everybody's standing status quo. We got almost 1 million African Americans in this town.
Yes.
1 million. And not one time we got people standing up fighting. Hispanics got champions. Homosexuals have champions. White folks have champions. Black folk, we don't have champions.
You're right.
Right.
We don't have nobody talking about our issue. Everybody's talking about what's going on in Mexico, on the border. I understand, and I feel sorry for, and I think Trump is wrong. But you can go down in Third Ward and find Mexico in the bottom. Go down there. You can go out in Third Ward, go out in South Park, go out in Sunnyside. You find that same thing in the bottom. What are you doing for them?
Exactly.
Right, that's right.
What are you doing for them? Who you said put you in office? What are you doing for them?
Taxpayers.
What are you doing for the people that putting you in office? What about the children that don't have a place to sleep?
Jesus.
What about all the kids going to bed at night don't have? You talking about these kids? The migrants don't have a place to sleep. The migrants don't have clothes. But you got kids in Third Ward the same thing.
Yeah.
So what are you doing for them? I always talk, it's, the word said, I always take care. My dad always told me to take care of home
first.
Yeah, hypocrisy is a big word though in the United States. Hypocrisy.
Yeah. So the thing is, I'm saying is, and we have all these black elected officials, but what are they doing for us?
Right.
And I think it's problematic for me. And we don't make them accountable. We don't hold them accountable because we let them come back, do it and prostitute us all along, and they never come back on election time. They always those Santa Claus mentality. They come around this election time, want to come and do it, and then they want to come around with a couple of bags of candy and say, "I'm for you," or they come on and dismiss the services on Sundays and come back in and say, "I'm for you," but you don't see them for 365 days of the year. You don't see them.
That's right.
When they come in town, they always want to come back walking in. Long as they feel they're in this. Most of them that I already know. I knew most of them when they wasn't nobody. And all of a sudden, they didn't have, they was almost 2 pitch there from the welfare line. Then most of all of them now are multimillionaires. Multimillionaires.
But there's money to be made off of the poor people. And so if you notice, whenever they have like a fundraiser, like Hands Across America, or there's a holiday and we're going to try to give everybody a turkey. Okay, then once that holiday goes by, there's no provisions being set aside that will keep these individuals being fed or sustained with services. It's only during that period of time, that window of opportunity, when they can call and say, we are asking the public for donations.
Photo shoots.
Yeah, there's a need every day.
Yeah.
What is it? Need every day.
Every day.
It's just an old Santa Claus mentality, like I said. And they want to walk back and they want to prostitute our community. They use our people. They want to come back only the time of election time. They say when they acknowledge us, and then they want to go after that, then they want to put us to the side. And I'm saying it's time for we to have somebody in this community to start demanding for a little more.
Amen.
Because the black vote is the most prolific vote in this town.
And it is.
Nothing happens in this town that get passed without the black vote. And it's a sad state of affairs that given those type of figures, that black folks are in the position we're in.
The most abused group of people.
You know what I see in the black community is there's a lot of people that they're bamboozled. You know, they're intoxicated. They're under the influence of drugs, so they're distracted. They don't see. They have scales on their eyes, so they don't really see what's going on.
Right.
And for those people, I mean, they're looking for their next crack rock. You know, that's what's important to them. So they've been distracted by drugs and alcohol and all the other chaos that's going on in the black community. So they're not really literally thinking about helping they can't help themselves, you know. So they're not really thinking about the things that you're speaking of right now. You know, how to enhance our people. You know, we as a people, we need to come together. We need to unite. Unity is the key. It's time out for looking for handouts coming from a different direction. It's time for us to unite together, because in our community, you walk out your front door and you go down the street to the corner store, you don't see us behind the counter.
No.
You know, and what that tells me is that those individuals don't live in our community. So what's happening is the money's coming in. We're bringing the money in because we go to work every day. All of us do. But the money's going right back out of the community. It's not staying in the community. So when you don't see the black businesses flourishing in the community, all you see is liquor stores on every corner.
Right.
You see a dress shop on every corner. You see a beauty salon, a beauty product place on every corner. You know, this is how they're feeding us. Understand what I'm saying? But I can remember going to a meeting one day, and Abdul Muhammad was there, and he said, you know, we can police our own communities. You know, we have enough people with enough expertise to where we can provide our own. But who's going to stand up? You know, everybody is feeding off of drugs. They're doing things and that they shouldn't be doing right now. So who's going to stand up? You know, the last meeting, this is what I said. Okay, we know what's going wrong.
Right.
But it's time for us to break the silence. It's time for us to stand up.
It's time for us to demand more.
It's time for us to demand
more from our representatives.
Exactly.
And in time, and you know, it's like I said, it's just, we have to do more, and we got to demand more. We as a people have to demand more.
Exactly.
And so, and I just think, that it's a travesty of what's going on in our community. Nobody's talking. Nobody's fighting. Nobody's fighting. And that what saddens me. Nobody fights anymore. Nobody's standing up for our community. No one's standing up for our children. No one taking on the issues of our community. Everybody's too busy fighting for everybody else, but nobody's fighting for us.
Right.
And so, and so it's sad. And so I sit back and I look around every day about it, and I say, where's our champions?
Yeah, but you know, most people say, you know, I got mine, you get yours.
Where's our people?
And that's how we think.
And that's sad, because I've heard teachers say it. I got mine, you get yours.
Yeah. That's a question of the day I want to repeat. Where are our champions?
Yeah, where are our champions?
Where are our champions?
Yes.
Because, you know, I look at a child today, a little black child, that could be my child.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I plant a seed in that child's life because that could be the child that's coming into my window.
Right.
And
right.
I'm a commissioned officer, so at that point I have a choice to make. If I don't plant a seed in that child's life and try and help that child to enhance their life, I'm held accountable. You know, all of us should look at it that way. We're held accountable. But what we're going to do, we just like to thank everyone for tuning in, and we hope that we've been a blessing into someone's life. We hope that we've answered some questions that you all may have had. We look forward to hearing from you guys. Thibodeau, state that number up there if you would.
713-526-8737. I know you had to run for your pen and get your piece of paper. 713-526-8737.
And also, I'd like to mention the name of the book that Constable Wooten has placed out. He's had it published. The name of the book is From Hell to Glory. Again, the name of his book is From Hell to Glory.
You can get it on Amazon.
You can get it on Amazon.
Can get it where?
On Amazon.
On Amazon?
On Amazon.
Is that right?
That's right. You all be blessed.
Yeah.